We've got Evan in Atlanta. How are you?
Hey, you guys, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Evan.
Awesome. This is first time calling. I'm an atheist. I'm a huge fan of you guys.
Well, thanks.
I was talking to a theist the other day, and we were talking about morality, because it usually comes around to that, as you know, Matt, from your debates. And I asked them a question that I ask a lot is about hell, which is infinite punishment for finite crimes moral? And they say, yes, it is, because God said so. So they're taking the position that things are moral because God says so.
Yep.
And I don't know how to, I mean, I know it's wrong and stupid, but I don't know what to say to that. Where do you go from there?
If God told you to sacrifice your son to him, would you do it?
I mean,
yeah.
If they're really saying that this is just because God said so, because God said so is their reason, then I feel sorry for them. They've sacrificed their humanity and their moral compass on the altar of deference to an idea which they don't even have good reason to think is true. I mean, it's absurd to think that merely because anybody, God or otherwise, said so, that this is necessarily true and good. Here's my favorite question for that. How did you figure out that God was the good one and Satan was the evil one? What mechanism did you use to decide between those two? And we're just going to go ahead and grant that those two exist and you need to make some decision. How did you determine that God was the good one and Satan was the evil one?
That's a really good point. I haven't even thought of asking that.
There is no way. I mean, you're talking about
the moral compass.
If they're real, you're talking about two supernatural beings with power beyond ours, both of which are capable of fooling us, and you need to figure out which one's good and which one's not. And the only way you can do this is to use your own understanding of morality. And what do you have to do then? Well, you have to figure out what it is that you're talking about, what it is, what mechanisms you're going to use to try to determine. And that makes the two of them irrelevant. And therefore, I can judge both of them to be, perhaps immoral on occasions and good on occasions. I mean, the Gnostics knew about this ages ago when they wrote about the absurd Genesis account. And when you look at the Genesis account, now I'm not assuming that the talking snake was necessarily Satan. That depends on whose tradition you want to read. But if you look at that account, the snake was telling the truth, right down the line. God says you're going to die when you eat this. No, you won't. You're actually just going to get knowledge. What is the Bible say that God says? Look, man has eaten of this and has become like us, which is exactly what the snake said would happen. Did they die? No, they got banished. Well, people want to do a revisionist little. It was a spiritual death. Okay, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, you look at who told the truth in that story. And it was the snake. And the people who will admit this will say, well, of course, because the devil's going to use truth. All it takes is a little bitty lie in the truth. And they're absolutely right. You're going to be more convincing in con jobs if you're mostly sticking to the truth and just insert the lie. I understand. I agree. Now, how did you determine that God is the good one sufficiently for you to say everything God says is true and good? You can't demonstrate that.
I love that. That's exactly what I needed.
Cool. Thanks, Evan. I got a bunch of other callers waiting, but I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.